jump back onto the podcast bandwagon. Yeah, we'll see what happens.
We'll just see how it goes.
Welcome back to the Weekly Breakdown. My name is Josh.
And my name is Taylor.
And we are the WDW couple. This Weekly Breakdown, every single podcast that we release and produce and do, is always brought to you by Gold Gal Getaways. No matter the trip, whether you have small kids, big kids, or no kids at all, we have an agent who can help you plan your next destination vacation, whether it's to Florida or anywhere around the world, or you can head on over to goldgalgetaways.com. Our media, we've actually been doing pretty well. We've got a few videos out there. If you guys haven't seen, we just did like a little behind the scenes video and published that. A lot of people really liked that.
And if you don't know what JTR Media is, it's like our little videography services business that we have going on. So we have done some proposals. So if you would like to submit a quote, you can go to www.jtrmedia.org, or you can email info@jtrmedia.org. And oh wait, this is in August. We have just announced that we are booking for our... So we are going on a Disney group cruise, our first Disney group cruise. It's on the Disney. You stay on property beforehand, going on a Disney cruise. You can actually take Disney Cruise Line transportation. Yeah. It does cost per person, but it's actually not that bad compared to other transportation that you would have to arrange.
It's very convenient.
Yes. Picks you right up at your resort. So you can join us on our group cruise by booking through Gold Gal Getaways. We do have a quote form in the show notes, or you can email and probably do fish extender gifts, and we'll also be stopping at Castaway Cay, the best place in paradise that we've been so far.
So far. We say that because in 2 weeks, or about 3 weeks' time, we will be on Coco Cay. Royal Caribbean's new and improved private island. So
yeah, so they've had the island, but it's been way updated. Yeah. So like Josh said, we are going on our very first. So excited. It's a 7-night Eastern Caribbean cruise on Royal Caribbean's Harmony of the Seas.
It's literally like 2 weeks away.
It literally is. And Josh was just asking me before we walked in here to film this podcast, oh, I see you're packing your suitcase already. And I'm like...
Since the beginning is also the topic of this week, which is Run Disney. If you guys don't know, I just completed my first ever Run Disney Dopey Challenge for Walt Disney World Marathon, which was a lot of fun. It was really cool, aside from the end. But
yeah, it did.
It was really great. I appreciate literally every single person who was on there, cheering me on, helping me get through. I hope that I inspired a few people to get out and
to keep going and pushing through to the end there.
Yes, I really appreciate it. It was super hot. I was dying, you know.
I'm getting really tired. I'm getting really hot. And the comments were just flying with like trying to give him motivation to get to the end of the race. And we actually got so many people to ran into the finish line, which was awesome. And all the money that was donated during that live stream and during that
leads us to this next thing. So yeah, Taylor said ran it with Dragon Master Foundation. I have now officially signed up for Star Wars Marathon, Half Marathon in April. And I will be doing
You're doing the Rival Run.
The Rival Run, I think, which is the 10K and the half. So Saturday and Sunday. I'm also doing that with Dragon Master Foundation. So his name's Jace. He's 20 years old. He was just diagnosed, like, I guess now it's almost, I think like 8 months ago.
Yeah, it's been a little while.
With what's called DI, like 3 years old. Like that's usually when they see it. And most of the time they only last for about 9 months. It seems to be, I think, a little bit more aggressive with kids who get it a little bit older. And what's really great is that Jace, who was diagnosed with this a while ago, Dragon Master Foundation is trying to get this approved, get it kind of continue the funding going. So this year they're trying to raise $125,000 for that. So that events that I'm doing. So I dare I say it, but I may do my first wine and dine as well with Dragon Master Foundation. So you'll just have to wait and find out, but I would really appreciate any donations. You can find them in the show notes. You can find them in the description of the video. Go through that. If you can. Super chats are different.
Yeah, but yes, this way you donate straight to the Dragon Master Foundation. But like I said, we don't keep any of the money anyway. It goes straight to them.
And to speak of that, with the super chats too, when those come in, it's not like I'm taking what YouTube then divides and gives to us. So whatever people donated, I can still see that on the analytics. Whatever people donated, like that's what goes. So there's still like more money that comes out of our pocket, I guess, in a way, from the YouTube check. But
we're donating it anyway,
but
so
yeah, it's all going back. So no real news stories this week, except for when this podcast gets launched, it will be the opening day of Festival of the Arts.
Yes.
I won't be there. I'll be working, but
I plan on being there.
Taylor has to be there. So she'll be there.
I'm off, so.
Trying some food, maybe a few drinks, maybe
All by myself.
We'll see. Maybe anything else to add before we move into this week's breakdown.
I don't really think so. I think that's pretty much it.
I'm excited for this cruise. I am really excited for this
too.
cruise. It's gonna be really cool.
I can't believe it's coming so soon.
I know.
Yeah, so with our group cruises before we, for coming on the cruise with us, but we decided like back in December that we want to do something for each cruise. So everybody is purchasing their own group shirt so we can get a group photo. But then we're actually getting them something to go with it that kind of matches it.
Yeah.
But then they'll be able to use it the rest of the thing. So
like a little,
I'm pretty
just a little
excited
gift.
about it. Yeah,
Say
a little
thanks,
like thank you for too. So
Absolutely. All right, this week's breakdown is all about Run Disney race events, everything that you need to know. More specifically, we're going to be talking about Marathon Weekend because that's kind of where we were just at. That's what we covered. But everything that we really talk about with Marathon Weekend really translates. It goes right over into basically every other Run Disney race that you are going to do, aside from maybe Paris. Paris might be a little bit different over in Disneyland Paris, but because it's the only other place that you can run Disney events right now.
yeah, so you actually used to be able to run in Disneyland, but I think because of some of the construction that they have going on of that, so there are actually no races right now, and so you basically do that on your own.
Yep.
So I know a lot of people are upset about that because they did like running in Disneyland, but I think it has something to do with like Anaheim as well, from what I have heard. So
Yeah, I guess it was really
for like the Star Wars weekends. So that would be awesome.
Yeah. So if you guys don't know, there are several Run Disney events that are occurring here at Walt Disney World throughout the year. Those are Walt Disney World Marathon Weekend, which occurs every January. The one that we're really going to be talking about is actually not doing it this year either. Then we have Star Wars Rival Run Weekend, which occurs in April, and the why that is, but they change it up. And then we have Disney Wine and Dine Half Marathon here as well in November.
During Food and Wine Festival.
Yes, this is only a half, a 10K, and I believe a 5K as well.
Marathon, since there is no full marathon, just during Marathon Weekend, which is what we are going to talk about this week because we've only ever done one of the Star Wars Run Disney events. We've never done Princess and we've never done Wine and Dine. So I think those are two things that you or us should add to our lists just to experience it.
I mean, Wine and Dine has always just seems to be so hit or miss with weather and
normally hot
craziness. So I've kind of always avoided doing it. Also because I think it's like a time of the year where we're already so busy with all kinds of stuff going on.
And that starts like the holiday season too, so
yeah,
it is a little crazy then.
So Walt Disney World Marathon, if you guys don't know, occurs over a span of 5 days. It starts on a Wednesday and it ends on a Sunday. And you're going to have a race on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You're going to have an expo, which starts on Wednesday and runs to Saturday. I actually thought this year it was... Yeah, so there are 4 races, the 5K, the 10K, the half, and the full. And with that, like Taylor was saying, there are challenge races as well. So there is Goofy, and then there is Dopey. And then the other 4 races that you can do individually. So this year, I did the Dopey. Whoop, whoop. Bought my bling.
So the Goofy challenge is just the half marathon and the full marathon. I say just. I mean, it's the half marathon and the full marathon is the Goofy challenge. So instead of signing up for those individually, you can sign up for them together as the Goofy challenge. Or if you want to be Dopey, 5, the 10, the half, and the full 4 days in a row.
Yeah.
And you are getting up really early for all that.
Yeah, so Epcot, which is fine as long as you're making it there. But for me, I like to be there early, especially, 2 years ago I was in the Sea Corral because you're so far back. And there's just some areas where it's really congested and it's hard to get through. And so if I'm all the way at the back in one of those back corrals, I got to be there early because I want to get to the very front of that corral and be able to get out ahead of those people in the first wave.
And the other thing is, I mean, we'll elaborate about this more later too, but you need to get there early because of traffic.
Yes.
Traffic is the worst thing. So our friends, the Brookharts, Peter runs all the races too. He did the Dopey Challenge. And I was talking to Sarah the one morning. We were at the starting line together. And their alarm didn't go off. So somebody called them at like 3:45 and they're like, where are you guys? And they were like, oh my gosh, we slept through our alarm. Well, waiting to come into Epcot because traffic was backed up so far. Like, it was insane.
Crazy.
And this was not just like one day it was like that. It gets like that every day. So,
yes.
Yeah.
It is good to be there early. So, all right. So let's move into kind of what goes into the race weekend, what you need to expect, what you should be on the lookout for. So, Wednesday starts Marathon Weekend. It is only an expo, and it is held over at ESPN's Wide World of Sports complex. And if you guys don't know what that is, it is a complex that is full of gymnasiums, arenas, football fields, soccer fields, baseball fields.
Tracks.
The Atlanta Braves used to come down and practice there. I don't think they're doing that anymore, but this is going to be the place where you're going to come in and pick up your bib. This is going to be the place where you buy official Run Disney merchandise. This is the place where Cheer Squad pickup is. This is the place where you can buy like other
it's like
vendor merchandise.
Yeah, all the expo vendors are there as well for like UFOs, sandals, and like the recovery sandals that you didn't wear once this weekend or last weekend.
Well, so yeah, I didn't.
They were in a
because I like to keep them inside because I don't want to take them outside and get them dirty, so I can wear them around inside of our place.
But he didn't wear them after the race, and they're recovery shoes.
We were in Caribbean Beach in the room. There's no need for me to wear them. I mean,
no, he just laid in the bed.
Exactly. I laid in the bed like the entire time, except for whenever we went into Hollywood Studios on Friday. Well, kind of going out to the start. You know, you don't want all 25,000 people trying to get started right away. It's going to be a total terrible mess.
No, and just so you know, that was not an exaggeration. Like, there's tens of thousands of people that do these races.
Oh, yes. That's
that
not
was
an exaggeration. So whenever you guys go to pick up your bib, you're going to have a race waiver, which they will send out early. That got published on Thursday. That there are computers that are set up for you to you can get on real quick. I think it's just like your, like a, what do you call those? Like stands? They're not tents.
Kiosks, desks.
Kiosk desks things. You'll find your name, sign your name. They'll give you your bib.
You also have to have your ID when you check in.
Yes. Because if you guys don't know, for a while there, they were having a lot, and I mean a lot, of people stealing other people's bibs. I don't know how it was happening, people who did it, but
it costs a lot of money to run in these races. So, like, the 5Ks are like $87 a person. So these aren't cheap. So if somebody's stealing your bib, that's not good. So have your ID.
So for Marathon Weekend, usually corrals are labeled A through H. There was a time in like 2016 when I think we first did it.
They were like P.
Yeah, they were. It was like A through P, but I think they did less waves back then. So that's just, when I say waves, it's just how people get released at the starting line. So, I mean, I don't really know what else to say. What would you say about the expo, being that we're on at the expo?
Okay, what's going to happen? So we got to the expo at like not ever a line to go in and get bibs because there are so many stations, and it's so, for some reason.
Well, hold on. I think maybe there was a time before they put all the Run Disney merchandise in that new arena.
They did.
Building as the bib pickups. That was, I remember, they had tape outside and they taped up.
That's right, but that was back in like 2016.
Well, we know but you're right, we know for next time.
Since then, they have built the new arena cheerleading world's at. It's huge.
Yep.
So, for some reason, Josh thought it was a good idea to wait in that line. So we stood there for an hour with like 20 people in this line.
Freezing cold. Wasn't freezing cold.
Walked right in, grabbed the bib, walked right out. So then we walked to go down to the Run Disney merchandise in the big arena. And when we walked into that big arena, there was a line so long inside that we stood there and waited for an hour.
We waited an hour because the not it really shouldn't be Run Disney employee fault to not manage the crowds at all. If they could have managed the crowd a little bit better, we would have gotten in, I think, a little. You stay between that tape and you know, weave back and forth, and they would say, okay, we're gonna let some people in, and people were just like, we don't care that there's tape here, we're going. You're not gonna stop us. And I mean, like, we're talking a lot of people went through there. Once they got that under control, it moved pretty smoothly. Like, we were moving every few minutes.
It did. But what we should have done is we should have went to the merchandise first.
Absolutely.
And then gone and picked up Josh's bib when we were done, and then gone into the expo.
Absolutely.
Because we definitely did that in the wrong order this year. I remember last year, I think it was last year when I went with Anjo, like, we had no problem getting into merchandise at all going into the expo this year.
And we know that for next time. You know, when we go for Star Wars, actually, I don't even know if I'll be there opening day of the expo, but we at least know that, you know, we'll just go in there, we'll do that first, and then we can get the bib pickup afterwards, because it's not that big of a deal. So
that's the only thing I would have changed.
Well, there is one other reason why you should try to get your bib pickup right away. One reason is because if you've never done a race before, whenever you can online, when you're doing the bib filling out form, your race registration form, you're not doing a bib fill out form, doing your race registration, you can select the size of well, the issue is that if you wait until like
the last day
basically, or even the day before, like on Friday, you can exchange your shirts, but they're only there to exchange until they run out. So that's why I like to try and get my stuff right away, just because if they've changed manufacturers on their shirts, because I think they were fine.
I think they were pretty good this year. I like them. This is Josh's shirt.
But that is one reason to get there. You don't have to be there first online. They're not going to go away the first day, but try to get there Wednesday or Thursday. That if you're there for Run Disney merchandise, or if you're planning to get something, just go to there first.
Yeah. And
then back.
Yeah, and get your bib.
Cheer Squad pickup was also there. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so Cheer Squad pickup was in the big arena, where you could get your Run Disney merchandise. They also had some character meet and greets in there, different times of day, Mickey and Goofy. But with Cheer Squad, let me just talk about Cheer Squad a little bit. For the pickup, so this is an advanced purchase. You can't just decide, oh, I want to be part of Cheer Squad on the day of. You may be able to purchase it at the expo, but I did it in advance because they said it can sell out.
Yeah, well, that's what I was just going to say. Usually, I think it sells out pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's like first come, first serve on purchasing it. Marathon and the full marathon, there's nothing for the 5 or 10K. You get, it's $100. You get a Run Disney 4-in-1 fleece blanket that you can also use as like a seat cushion if you're going to sit for a while, or wrap it around you, or sit on it as a blanket. You get a Cheer Squad cowbell, a fan, which is also a course map that like folds up into a fan. You do get 2 of those, one for the half and one for the full. You get reserved Walt Disney World, and then you get finish line cheer zone seating, which has reserved grandstand seating, huge standing area right along the finish line, which is actually in a perfect spot. There's also hot and cold non-alcoholic beverages. They do have a beverage stand there for adult alcoholic beverages as well that you can purchase. And there are designated porta potties, or portalettes as they call them.
Porta Jones. That's what I kept saying during the live stream.
In that cheer squad section, which is actually really nice because you never have to wait in line for bathroom.
Yeah, so did you use those designated portalettes?
Heck yes, I did. Somebody held
That's the only thing I didn't ask you.
No, yeah, I did. So
I just thought it was funny because they're like, you listen, when you come to a Run Disney race event, I'm telling you right now, you have never seen more portalettes in your life.
No,
in one location. You
will have never seen more cones, more orange cones on the road, and more porta potties in one place at a time. So that was nice that they had drinks there. They were cold. They had sodas. They had water, of whatever, as much as you wanted. They had coffee and tea, and they actually had like flavorings for the coffee and tea. They had the porta potties, which you never had a line for. They had like the hand sanitizer dispensers there. They had tables with chairs out. You had the bleachers. You had the whole standing area. And it was actually a great spot. And the spot in Magic Kingdom was pretty good as well. It was literally right in front of Cinderella Castle. You could either watch them come straight down Main Street, or you could sit like kind of on the turn and watch them go into Tomorrowland. So you weren't facing the castle. The castle was like behind you, but it was still a really good spot right there. Now, what I have to say about Cheer Squad is that I probably would not do it again. It was $100, and I felt like that was not a lot of special things for $100. Like,
It wasn't really worth it.
the fleece blanket was nothing super special. It literally just said Run Disney on like the outside part of it, and you opened it up and it was like a plain gray and black blanket.
Yeah.
I thought it was gonna have like the Run Disney logo on it, or be like blue and white. Like, I thought it was gonna be something a little bit better.
A little more creative.
Yeah.
Something-
And then you got the cowbell, and then you got like the fan, which was fine. I personally was hoping for a t-shirt that said Cheer
That would
Squad
have
on
been
it.
cool.
If it came with a t-shirt, I would do it again.
Yeah.
If it like said Cheer Squad 2020 or something like that on it, I would totally do it again just to get that t-shirt and the special viewing, because I did like that I didn't really have to fight for a spot.
So you
at
think the
finish
special
line.
viewing was actually would be worth it with a t-shirt?
If it came with a t-shirt, yes.
Okay.
Because it doesn't come with a t-shirt, so like we took turns going to the bathroom and holding our spots. Now, I could have left my spot and easily got back up in there and just been like, oh, hey, my husband's coming right there. And they'd be like, oh, sure, step right up in, get him going through. And then I would move and they'd take their spot back. Like,
Yeah.
that's what a lot of us were doing at Magic Kingdom and the finish line. But I probably won't be doing that for any other events.
Yeah, it wouldn't make a lot of sense for the 10K.
Just
for
because the
anything,
other
but-
races aren't long enough. But yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Cool.
it was cool to have the experience and see what the Cheer Squad was, because I remember the first time we went and I watched Josh run the marathon in 2016. I was like, oh, what's the Cheer Squad? And it sounded so cool, like, oh, Cheer Squad,
Yeah.
so official. But
It may have been a little bit different back then, too.
maybe it was, but it didn't feel super official
Yeah. Kind of lame.
doing it myself. So maybe if they change it up a little bit, add a t-shirt or something, keep it the same price and add a t-shirt, let me add. Keep checking and just see what it says in the future.
Cool. All right, so we'll move into the actual races this week. So, well, that had occurred last week. So I'm going to probably do a lot of talking because I was the one who actually ran everything, and Taylor can chime in with questions or comments from her spectating throughout the race. So, yeah. So Dobie Challenge, all 4 races, you have to get up really early. As we went into Thursday, that's the 5K race. It's located at Epcot. It starts at Epcot, ends at Epcot. If you don't know, a 5K race is 3.1 miles. It might sound like a really long distance. It's really not. If you're worried or scared, 5K is a really great way to start. There is no sweeping, I believe, because it's only 3.1 miles. And we'll talk a little bit more about what sweeping means later. But it's definitely a great place for you to start. If you've never done it before, I don't know that I would encourage you to do a Run Disney 5K because it's extremely expensive compared to a $20 5K that you could do at home. But obviously, you're not going to have the same Disney magic. So while you're out running on the 5K, you have the opportunity to meet and take photos with characters, which I did. And Run Disney has still failed to give me those photos.
Yeah, we only have a picture of you with Geppetto.
Yeah, and so there was the girl. Oh, maybe that was a 10K. I think.
No, that was the girl Chippendale, wasn't it?
I would hold up my bib, but I don't know what I did with it. Not that you would really be able to see it very well. Anyways, but my bib indicates that there's an A on there. There's 2 A's. The first A is for the 5K. The second A is for the 10K. And it just basically means that I'm in the very first corral. So I don't know if they did waves in A.
They did.
Sounded like they did whenever I took off, but I got to the very front of A again because I wanted to be out in front. I knew that I was going to meet characters. I didn't want to have to wait and meet any characters, and I still wanted to actually kind of try to run the race. So I did that. And really minimal waits. One thing that I will say about that is that sometimes the characters are not out and ready to go.
Oh, that's right. Who came out?
For the 10K, I think I missed somebody.
Mad Hatter.
The Mad Hatter down at the end. And then I think I was waiting for Abu in Morocco. Abu was not already out, and I stopped, and they're like, Abu should be coming. We don't know where he's at.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I'm going to give him like a minute and a half. And if he's not out, I'm going to just keep going.
You got a minute and a half.
Yeah. But during the 5K, there is one water stop. They have water and Powerade. I skipped it. You don't have to skip it.
Continues on. He said that Disney hasn't given him his photos yet of those characters during the 5K. Disney Photo Pass is actually who does the photos during the races.
Yeah.
When we varied that because we didn't know if we were going to do another Run Disney race or not, so we were like,
my first one.
Yeah, Josh was like, well, let's just buy the photos. So we bought the photos, and it did come with a video like at the finish line too.
It did,
so,
which was cool.
Been amazing. So if you have
when you get your photos.
Yeah. So if you have Memory Maker when you come here on vacation, or if you're doing the Run Disney races, or if you're like us and you're an annual pass holder and Memory Maker is included with your annual pass because we have the highest annual pass, it's really nice because then your photos from the races are automatically included. So you don't have to pay for them extra, which is wonderful. There's just
standing next to those tables, kiosk windows, whatever you want to call them. And what they're going to tell you to do is hold your bib up just underneath your chin, and they're going to take a photo basically of your upper body so that they can get your face and the bib. Why they're doing that? Because they're using very advanced facial recognition combined with your bib number. So those photos get analyzed by some, read the number that's in the photo, and then it can attach that with crazy software to your face. Mm-hmm. So you'll also realize that sometimes you get other people's photos that pop up in your thing.
Yeah, there was actually a lady's number. So Josh's bib
yes,
number was...
Yes, there's a lady apparently who looks like me.
No, she doesn't. Her bib number looked just like yours.
Oh, did it?
So Josh's bib number was 27721. Hers was 21121.
Oh.
And the ones almost looked like sevens from the angle they took the picture. Yeah. So that's why it linked to our account. Only 2 of her photos.
Yeah. I had these photos for this. I didn't get them. They'll try to locate them manually if they have to.
But but you always should give them a couple days because sometimes it does take a while, especially because there's thousands of people running these races.
Yeah. So for the 5K, Disney does suggest that you arrive no later to Epcot than 4:30 for a 5.
Just edited it this afternoon when we filmed this podcast.
But that's what they suggest, that you get there no later than 4:30. If you get there later than that, you may have traffic issues coming in. You may miss the start of the race, and you may have to jump into a different corral. Taylor's over here laughing at some of my photos. Oh yeah, there was one part coming through Hollywood Studios, and I was just
that's when there were 2 sets of families there like cheering you on.
No, that was after that. That was after I saw them.
Oh, it must have been. Oh my gosh, here's your.
Oh, it finally
your
popped
picture
up
with the grave diggers. Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
We'll talk about that when we get to it.
If you're watching the YouTube video, I'll throw it up.
Yeah, we'll talk about it when we get to the marathon. But, yeah. Anyways, so that's what they suggest. Get there no later than 4:30. The buses will start running at 3:30, and we took a bus to Epcot that is provided by Disney. So, it was.
Boost's photo just came up too.
Oh, perfect.
Yes.
See,
been waiting for that.
We're starting to get the photos.
I wanted to check.
But it was a lot of fun. The 5K was fun. I don't know that I would do the Dopey challenge again.
The Dopey.
Not that for me it wasn't that it was too physically strenuous. It was that I did not like getting up so early every day for 4 days straight. But yeah. So if you guys have any questions about the 5K, please leave a comment down. One couple.
The WDW1 couple.
The WDW couple 1 at gmail.com. So yeah. So after the 5K, I think it started at 5:30, and I was done at 6.
Right around 6. I thought it was 26.
I don't remember. I think I may have skipped one, but
it's all about the experience, Josh.
Yeah, but we went back and basically went to sleep.
We did.
We were tired.
No, so we went back. Josh made me walk up to the front to get him a bounty platter.
Oh my gosh, I was so hungry for a bounty platter. Like it was like if there was ever a moment in my life when it was like I need a bounty platter from the quick service restaurant of any single Disney World restaurant that serves the bounty platter, it didn't matter which one. It was just like, please go there and get me one and bring
You
one
know, I
back.
actually got up there and I didn't see it on the menu at first, and I was like, "You've got to be kidding me!" Like I
I would have
almost
been devastated.
No, I almost contemplated going and getting in the car and driving somewhere to go get
could
you
just
the
went to-
dang bounty
Does
platter.
Riviera have a quick service?
But-
Pop Century,
But whatever.
Art of Animation.
Yeah, I could have taken the Skyliner because it was
you go.
running by that point. But whatever. Josh got his bounty platter. We share it. We like to share a bounty platter because he doesn't like the waffle, and I don't like the eggs.
Yeah. And then is that the day that we slept till like 1?
Yeah, it was.
Then we went and we just like slept the whole way through the morning, and then we got up.
And then we stayed up really late again that night on
Yeah.
accident.
So so I don't know. I mean, you can go do stuff if you want to. It is really important to note that none of the races, it doesn't matter whether you're doing the 5K or you're doing the entire Dobie Challenge, none of these races give you admission into Epcot or any other Disney park. They used to do that, I think, a long time ago, where when you did the race, you could just walk up and they would like let you in. That is no longer the case. To my knowledge, they do not allow you to do that. You must have a park ticket.
I mean, could you imagine if every single person that was a runner...
Yeah, I mean,
And not
Friday was the 10K race. This started and ended at Epcot as well. If you don't know, a 10K race is 6.2 miles. That's double what a 5K race is. And what was kind of cool about this was my first 10K race for Disney. It was actually the first official 10K race that I've ever ran.
Oh, yeah.
And it started at Epcot and it ran through World Showcase, part of World Showcase, and then went out to like Disney's Boardwalk, Yacht, and Beach Club resorts, and then it came back in. So you kind of like ran the loop around, and then you came back, which was pretty cool. Same have a lot of rare characters.
Yes.
So sometimes the more
No, I don't think,
Think
so
so.
because Mickey,
Minnie.
Donald, Mickey and... Oh, my gosh.
Mickey, Minnie, Goofy.
No, it was Mickey, Minnie, and Dopey. You could meet every single day at the starting or finish line, whatever you want to call it.
So like most of the time, if you see some characters that you can normally meet in the parks, they're not going to have a longer line. Normally, the real rare characters are the ones where like people are like, oh, I got to stop and get a photo with them. So
Like how Beast was out.
yeah. So
Yeah.
and that was another thing. So I was in A Corral again. I got up to the very front because we were there early, and I started off right away on that as well because again, and this was for the 10K. I missed the Mad Hatter. I wanted to get out ahead so that I had less people to wait in front of me if there were line race. Like I said, I don't think that there is a sweep for the 5K and the 10K, so you might be okay to get in line and wait for some of these characters. But if you're running the half or the full, you really need to consider your corral placement and the amount of characters that you're going to be meeting people deep.
In each character
And
line.
that's going to take you roughly 30 seconds to a minute. That might not sound like a lot of time, but that's a lot of time in the grand scheme of things. So if you're stopping at every... So just something to consider. For the 10K, they had 2 medical tents, and I think that's mostly for people that are driving. It's a little bit different. As long as you're on the last departing bus from your resort, if you're staying on property, you should be fine, which is normally like might be 4 o'clock or something like 30, which was really nice. I was actually back before the race had even ended, so I kind of felt like a...
Yeah, they were still letting
I felt
corrals
like,
out.
I felt like an elite runner from the half or the full marathon, where normally when people in the last couple of corrals get let go, as they're making their way out, they can see the elite runners already coming back to Epcot. So
Is that what you felt like for the 10K?
that's what I felt like for the 5K and the 10K, because even for the 5K, I made it back before they had let out all the corrals.
yeah.
So, something really important to note, you have to enter in through Epcot. Security that you have to go through, a bag check that you have to go through. So make sure that you are entering in the way that you're supposed to. And I don't know if they had this on the 5K, but I guess they do have this on for the 10K. They do say that you have to complete it within a 16-minute mile pace. Again, I don't know that there are really any areas for you to be swept during the 10K. But I mean, again, it was fun. I had a good time. It was cool to just kind of be able to get out and run. But at the same time, for me, the 5K and the 10K are such short races that it is kind of like a mental hassle to get up out of bed
Yeah.
so early, go there and do that, and then at the end you're just like, well,
Yeah, because you finished it in such a quick amount of time.
what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to tell you what we did
After
on Friday
10K.
for the 10K, which was pretty cool. Normally, I was kind of like, I don't really want to do very much, but I didn't want to go back and sleep right away because I didn't want to be super wide awake at night. So we decided to go to Hollywood Studios. And we were going to have lunch over there. We were going to do a dining review, but I was just like, I haven't slept. I don't want to do a dining review. So we got boarding passes for Rise of the Resistance, baby.
We did.
Which was awesome.
We got boarding group 145. And
Was that the last one?
the highest group they boarded for the day was 149. Like, that was the last boarding group that they let out.
It was going to get pushed towards like the end when the park was getting ready to close, and it was going to be like, it's ready. We can go ride. It was like around 6.
It was 5:53. I remember.
We had gotten a notification that our camera up, not in my face, but she's like, "Hey, Josh, are you ready to go?"
I didn't
And
yell.
I
gently
jumped.
touched.
I was out. Oh man, it was so disappointing because I was sleeping. But we got
He's
over
fine.
there. It was video whenever it gets posted sometime next week. Challenge. I don't know that I would do Dopey again just because I don't like having to get up so early. One thing that I will say that is very convenient about this, that Peter and Sarah we do, but we stayed on property. And I don't know that I would ever do the Dopey challenge not staying on property just because it's just another hassle of like having to get up just that much earlier, get in the car, drive over, park, do all those things. It was very convenient to just be able to get up, put my stuff together, or put my stuff on, get myself together, walk over to the bus, get on the bus. They take me there. I don't have to worry about parking the car, anything like that.
Well, even if we would have drove, I would have been driving.
Yeah.
And we would have gotten there early, but we probably would have had to get up a little bit earlier because the hotel was only like 5 minutes away, where home is like 15, 20 minutes away, just depending. So.
Yeah. All right, so we will move on to the bulk of the bigger races for the weekend, which is the half marathon, which was on Saturday, and this starts at Epcot. It ends at Epcot. But what's really cool about the half marathon is that it runs through Magic Kingdom. This is one that you do have to maintain that 16-minute mile pace. If you're starting at the very back with where the balloon ladies are at. What's really nice is that if you're up in a let's say if we've got corrals A through H, which C, let's say, and you are people before the balloon ladies cross the starting line in H, you have got a huge buffer of time. So you don't actually have to maintain a 16-minute mile pace. You can do something a little bit slower, like 18. But just keep this in mind that what they're going to tell you is that your pace has to include stopping for water, stopping for medical tent, stopping to take photos with characters, all of those things. I've actually seen them.
I have.
You and Anjo saw them
Anjo and I saw them last year.
Yeah.
We literally walked right in front of them to the finish line.
Yeah.
So let me tell you who they are, and then I'll tell you what happened last year briefly. So the balloon ladies are the last.
Yep.
If they pass you and they stay past you and you don't pass them again,
before you get to
a bus will drive across the road right behind them and right in front of you, and you walk up the stairs and get on the bus.
Yep.
You do not get to finish running the race or walking the race or however you were doing it. And they will drive you to Epcot, and then you will get off the bus and you will go get your medal across the finish line. But you do still get to get your medal and your snacks and all that stuff. But you have to maintain a pace. If you're near those balloon ladies, they are doing a 16-minute mile the whole entire race.
Yeah.
And they finish that race with a 16-minute mile.
Yep.
But they are the very last people to cross that starting line. So as long as you... What happened to me last year, and the reason I saw them, is because my hip really started hurting me. It was like my hip flexor. And I told Josh, I don't know if I'm even going to finish. Like, I saw the bus up ahead, like where the checkpoint was. I was like, I'm contemplating just walking up and sitting on the bus and riding back with it. However, at that point...
my dad was running too. So I was going to leave Taylor because she may not, and I was going to go catch up with my dad.
Yeah, so I was literally standing there. And I was like, what in the world? So Anjo's like, are you okay? I was like, no, my hip is hurting me. And he's like, well, let's just walk down the hill. And we're like almost into Epcot. We are literally coming into the Imagination Pavilion, like back entrance to Epcot. And we turn around, and guess who's literally right behind us? The balloon ladies. We had walked so stinking slow, they caught up to us.
Oh, yeah.
And Andrew and I were like, yeah, we gotta run now. So we like slowly jogged, but we stayed ahead of the balloon ladies for the rest of the race. But yeah, I did not think we were gonna see them, but we did.
So that is something to consider. So when we're talking about that and the balloon ladies and the corrals, where it really matters is picture literally, if you can in your head, from a movie, from whatever you need to. The corrals are basically these fenced off areas where they literally herd you like cattle or sheep, whatever domesticated animal you want to think of, into these areas. And they start at A is all the way up by the starting line. And from there, whenever they shoot off, when they shoot A off, let's say they're only going to let half of the corral go. Somebody at some point, some volunteer, they're usually wearing purple jackets, purple shirts down, and then they're going to say 3, 2, 1, go. And that's how they do it. So they try to do it. They try to stage it because it just helps.
Helps with the congestion.
It does. It helps to spread people out. So, you know, not that it's a huge deal, but it is something to consider. You know, if you're trying to meet characters, you want to be in a higher or a lower letter corral so that you have a little bit more time to stop and see them.
If you are in one of the like end corral letters, like Josh was in H,
Taters who are staying at host resorts, these are Disney owned and operated resorts, are encouraged to utilize the provided Run Disney transportation, as traffic can get very congested with cars coming in. So that's what we do. I think it's the best way to do it. Something to consider.
We stay on property and we ride a bus.
If you're at Bay Lake Tower, Contemporary, Polynesian, Grand Floridian on the monorail loop of Magic Kingdom, you will be required to take the monorail from your resort to TTC, transfer to Epcot, and take the Epcot line.
There are no
to
buses.
get to the starting line. Yeah, no buses. I guess they can. Nope, they can't really.
The roads are closed.
Yes,
that's why
World
you
Drive gets
cannot
shut
drive. Like you can't drive on those roads.
From Epcot to Magic Kingdom, World Drive gets cut off. So 60-minute mile pace again. There is one food stop for the half marathon. It's like mile 8 or something like that.
7.9, I think.
Or 7.9. Yeah, it's on there, I guess. So yeah, about mile 8. And they have sport beans. They used to have like the goo packets, which I really liked. I hate the jelly beans. I think they're so gross.
I actually like the jelly beans. I hate the goo packets.
Make me sick.
I can't believe he said that on here.
That's a really awesome, magical moment to be able to run up Magic Kingdom.
The sun's just starting to rise.
Yeah.
The castle's all lit up in the lights.
And there's people that they let people in there.
Yes.
So I guess you could go into Magic Kingdom without a park ticket then.
No.
I thought you just said they will let you in without one.
They will let you in, but all the lands are blocked off. You can only get to the main. You can only get to Main Street USA. Well, there's only a certain time period you're allowed in there too, and then they make everybody leave.
Oh, okay. All right.
Before the park actually opens.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Good to know.
They start letting breakfast people in there, but then they have to scan those people's magic bands to make sure.
Much from right after you get out of Magic Kingdom, but it's really kind of when you kind of make that turn around the Poly and start back down World Drive.
Because the sun is now up, typically, unless it's cloudy, which you were lucky and it was kind of overcast.
It was overcast, a little misty.
But typically, that's when the sun is nothing magical.
Yeah, nothing to really see.
There's characters and there's DJs.
I think there's one character actually.
Yeah.
This is the place where Taylor always really has a tough time.
Yes, that's my struggle bus.
It's just that last stretch, and again, it's
and then you
get
to the end of that stretch, and then you have to run around up the ramp.
Yeah, which is not train a little bit. Try to, make sure that you're going a full maybe 13 miles. Maybe try to go a little bit further than that. You don't have to run the whole thing, but really get out there and just make sure you're at least maybe trying to run half of it and then walk the other half. Something so that you're getting that mileage. Oh, kind of the entire thing. I ended up
until
losing,
service cut out.
I lost bandwidth going into Epcot, so you didn't get to see the finish. But you can see pretty much most of it running up World Drive into Magic Kingdom, coming out of Magic Kingdom, and back down World Drive. So you can kind of get a good experience or an idea of what to expect. Yeah. But for Walt Disney World Marathon in January, it starts at Epcot, ends at Epcot, from Epcot to Magic
Oh, we're
Kingdom
moving
and
into
back.
the marathon now?
So, I think so.
Or were you talking about the half still?
I was still talking about that. Also starts at Epcot, ends at Epcot. So, do you have anything else to add for half? Because you have ran the half before.
I have ran the half. So if you are somewhat in shape and you haven't really trained for it, you can probably still do it.
Yeah.
If you do train, I get like hip pain
Yeah.
from doing competition cheerleading my whole life. So
Yep. I don't remember what I ran it this past year. I slowed way down,
the
messing
half
with the
marathon,
stupid
you did it
gimbal.
in 2 hours and 45 minutes.
Yeah, I was messing with the gimbal a lot and
Yeah.
the phone. But anyways, and another thing too, when you're coming back into Epcot, you're not running through World Showcase. Usually they're
Come in behind the Imagination Pavilion, I'm pretty sure.
normally, and you'll see if you haven't ever seen it before. When you're running it, there are going to be some traffic controls and different things like that. Because at that point, Epcot is normally officially opened or pretty
Yeah.
close to it, and so they're trying to. And then we'll go into Sunday for the full marathon. Disney, they were trying to be really helpful and benefit the runners, and
It's
they
also
shot
not
themselves
really
in the foot.
Run Disney's fault. It's kind of
Well,
just the Disney company's
I mean-
issue because they're doing so much construction
I don't
in
know.
Epcot.
It's out the backside of Magic Kingdom almost exactly the same as how the half marathon gets started. And then as you come back out on, let's like Floridian Way or something like that, you pass Grand Floridian, you pass Polynesian, you then make a right-hand turn and you go down Bear Island Drive or something like that. And then you'll take that all the way down into Animal Kingdom. You'll stop along the way. You'll do an out and back on whatever the road. Thank goodness we didn't have to do it this year. You would then go into Animal Kingdom. You come out of Animal Kingdom, and that's usually about the halfway point. You're about at a half marathon. The worst part of the whole stretch.
Yeah, because Animal Kingdom's at one end of Osceola Parkway and ESPN is at the other end of Osceola Parkway.
Basically. And then you run through ESPN, and you would then come back out. You go to Hollywood Studios, and you go to Epcot. They changed the course up this year because people have been notorious. They've been complaining. I've complained about it, not really to Disney, but just in general, that ESPN is terrible. So what they did this year is they said, hey, we're cutting out ESPN. We're going to run you guys through Blizzard Beach. Started up World Drive. So basically what they did this year is we started in the same place as the half. We ran out. We turned back around and went back through the Epcot parking lot, back up into the entrance. Not well lit. You're running in backstage areas that are not well lit. Then we move out into Future World over by Imagination Pavilion. There were no lights over there. It is dark. It is very dark. And those walkways, which they just expanded, which is amazing for the festivals, you can't move. Like, there were so many runners going through there. Why this was such a huge debacle. They wanted to start the race at 5 o'clock instead of 5:30. For some reason, thinking that a half-hour change is going to make a huge world of difference on the heat. It's really not. Especially for everybody that's back in H, it's not going to make a difference for you. A half hour is not going to save you. You're going to have the heat no matter what. So they wanted to start at 5 o'clock. They told people that you had to be there no later than 3 o'clock. I'm pretty sure.
I think it was
3:30.
I think it was 3:30.
3:30.
Yeah.
And
Run
they were-
Disney sent out an email and said,
Yes.
you have to
If
be
you're
there by 3:30.
If you were driving, you needed to be there even earlier to park cars because they were going to have to start closing off the parking lot. If you guys saw out of their vehicles who were getting out of Ubers, who were trying to get off of Disney transportation buses to walk or run into Epcot to try and make it to the starting line. So this wasn't just an issue of like, oh, there are drivers here who were lazy and decided to come late. No, like even the provided Disney transportation could not get into
But the
Epcot.
buses couldn't get in because there were so many cars because people waited so long.
True. Yeah, and I mean, that's the other thing too. Whenever you have to be there so early and now they're delaying it.
And especially for the people like us who actually listened and were there early.
Yeah. I mean, but yeah, so 26.2 miles. We're starting. We get off the block. First 10K out of Epcot just because I was trying to get out ahead of the crowd. Plus, I needed to get out ahead of that and start. I was live streaming. So, again, same thing. If you guys want to see what it's like to run or be a part of the marathon, I live streamed literally once I got out on the World Drive, which was about a mile way through. There are two parts because I did lose it. No.
The gimbal. You had to change the gimbal.
Is it fun?
It was fun for us in the chat.
Yes and no. The first half of the race is really cool. So the same thing, you have to run up into Magic Kingdom. If you get there early enough, you can still see Cinderella's castle lit up.
Yeah.
We didn't get to really see that because by the time we got there with the delayed start, the sun had already kind of come up and the lights weren't on. But it was still very magical. It was still really cool. Another really cool thing about the marathon is that if you, depending on what time you come through Animal Kingdom, you can ride Expedition Everest.
Which you got to do.
Which I also got to do.
On the live stream.
On the live stream, which was kind of funny because in retrospect of thinking about it now, I think I used, can we get on it and ride? And they're like, oh yeah. And I like the marathon that just, last week, that was now at like mile marker 17. I was really distracted because I had the live stream going, which was great. But I'll tell you this, I don't think I really mentioned it that much on the stream. But when I got off Expedition Everest, I was like, that was the biggest mistake I could have made. Sitting down for about 2 minutes, I got off of there and I felt totally gassed. Like I had nothing left. It was hard for me to even run. I was wearing a backpack for the entire race. And I think my chest muscles were starting to tighten up. My back was starting to tighten up. And every time I would try to run or jog, it was like, I couldn't expand.
To use an incentives barometer before your next race.
I don't even know what that is.
That's that little blue thing I have.
Whatever. And I don't know if you can do it at Hollywood Studios, but a lot of people were saying you could, I guess, ride Tower of Terror.
I'm sure you probably could, but regular guests are getting on that.
So I don't know if maybe they were letting, the way I think they did it one year, they were letting runners go through the Fast Pass line instead of the standby line, I think, at Expedition Everest. So I don't know if maybe they would have done that there at Hollywood Studios or not.
But the other thing is Tower of Terror takes a lot more time than Expedition Everest.
Yes, there's a pre-show.
Because you have the you have the queue, then you have the
marathon.
This is the same thing. You have to keep a 16-minute per mile pacing requirement, and that's the same thing. The balloon ladies are going to be at the end. There are literally like 3 or 4 ladies carrying
legitimately
big,
carrying balloons,
like Mylar balloons.
Yeah.
At the end of the race, so you will know the balloon ladies when you see them.
Another couple things about the marathon too. Understand that if Run Disney officials feel that there is a hazard or even cancel the entire run, if they feel necessary. So it was really weird because all week it had been nice and cool here in Florida, and then Saturday and Sunday it heated up. So
well, even Saturday it was overcast for pretty much the whole race, so it didn't end up getting as hot as it could have been.
And it was actually really nice. But
Sunday the sun came out.
Was a totally different story. Yeah. Once that sun broke up over the horizon line and broke up over the trees, it was almost unbearable. So what they ended up doing, and luckily I'd already made it past there before. Oh, really?
Yes.
What they ended up doing was they cut off the entire Blue Beach section, from what I was told.
They did.
So basically, once you came out of Animal Kingdom and you got down, you would turn right and go down into Blizzard Beach. They cut that off somewhere. I don't know if they cut it off right there and just immediately made you go left.
I think they did.
Into Hollywood Studios. But that can legitimate concern. I mean, sometimes people just don't know when they need to stop. I think Taylor's at the finish line. They were having medics run up the finish line, right? To go get people and stuff like that.
Like people coming down towards the finish line, like, I don't know if they collapsed or whatever, but I did see one guy, there was a medic on one side of him and like his dad or something on the other side of him. They like basically carried him across the finish line.
So understand that. Understand your frustration. If you're back there, they cut it off and you maybe feel cheated. Understand that it is a legitimate health concern. I mean, heat stress, heat exhaustion is a very, very serious thing. You can die from that.
And this is Florida. Even though it's January, it's still hot here.
Yes. So you will still get a medal. Regardless, your time may not be official.
And you already have your shirts from before, when you picked up your bibs. So
So just keep that in mind. It does happen. They have been times where they've canceled the half marathon because of weather.
Oh yeah, there was like
lightning and rain.
A couple years ago, they had to cancel.
Throwing up anyways. So jelly beans and bananas. This is what they have.
There's 5 stops. One at 11 mile 23.1. Just before the end. And same thing, resort guests take.
We're checking out.
But that was because we were checking out. But we were there before security was even open.
Yeah.
So we didn't sit. Same thing with the Magic Kingdom monorail loop resorts. You have to take the monorail still.
Look like for this kind of stuff, it really depends. I didn't think that they were doing it, but I actually release all of the races or 5. Yeah, after tax, it ends up being like, I think almost like $400.
Oh, that's right. I'm thinking of me because I just do the half.
Yeah.
That's what I was
And
thinking.
then the dopey is like something around like $600.
So here is the thing. This is why we choose to run for charity, or why Josh does. Not only is it for a good cause, but it's an easier way to be able to do these races.
Right.
Instead of coming up with that money the day that you have to, register,
Right.
you're able to fundraise over a little bit more time, and it actually goes to a good cause.
Right.
Instead of just forking out that money to pay for the race.
Exactly.
So if you would like to join the Dragon Master Foundation team, we
you can do
would
that.
we would love to have you.
Sorry, our phones are blowing up.
We would love to have you. It's not our team, but
The Master Foundation.
I kind of
could do
feel
that.
like I'm part of the team too because I went to the booth with Josh every day.
She was cheer squadding it. You know?
I was.
She's cheering it on.
I'll wear Josh's Fired Up t-shirt from this year at the next race when he gets a new one.
So, Run Disney Race events. They're great for first timers. I think you don't feel like you have to run the Balloon Ladies if you want to.
Yeah,
finish
that's a
across the
very
line.
common misconception. We've had a lot of people message us and say, well, I don't run, so I can't do a Run Disney race. And we're like, no, that's not right. You can. Like, because I don't run.
Right.
I do the 30, or it's like the 3 hour and 30 minute half
It's
marathon.
like 30, 15.
Yes, you run walk. And I go with a pacer with the Jeff Galloway pacer groups, and
Yeah.
that's how I finish, no problem.
Yep.
Without training.
Yeah. So just if you need to find a pacing group, if you're back in H, that's going to be normally the slowest pacing groups. If you go back and watch the live stream, you're going to hear me talking a lot about them, especially on the full marathon day.
Yeah.
Wondering where they're at, and kind of judging where I'm at in the race compared to where those pacing groups are at. So it's an opportunity to meet some really cool rare characters.
Yes.
I'm still regretting it. Goofy is obviously not a rare character, but you will see some of those Fab 5 characters with very rare at this. I know I'm going to, but it was like 30 some people deep. I just didn't feel like stopping and waiting for that. So
Yeah, and Donald Duck was in like a special beach outfit, and Chip and Dale were the rescue rangers.
I met Donald.
We meet at Be Our Guest,
Yeah.
and Abu, you can only meet at like the Halloween party or something.
think.
So, yeah, they have some really.
As I think a lot of people come to Disney to run because I think some people consider it a pretty easy course, but
It's flat,
yeah, it's mostly
pretty
flat.
much flat.
But really look at it as a way to, look at it as more of like the experience of just being able to do it, because Disney it's about the experience. It's not about having a great PR time or being the first person across the finish line. It's about on a kind of a bucket list.
Yeah, I actually talked to some people at the finish line, and they said whenever they had done the races, because they were just like spectating some of the days, they said that it was an experience for them. They didn't care how fast they ran. They didn't care,
Yep.
if they made it across the finish line in time or got swept. Like, they were excited that they got to run through the parks in Walt Disney World. And like, I actually got a little bit emotional in one of our videos coming up from the races, but like, it's just an overall feeling that you get being there.
Oh yeah.
The atmosphere is so awesome, and the announcers that they have at the course are pretty awesome too.
Pretty good. Yep. And I'm not like a super emotional person, but when amazing, and now I've done
A couple.
4 of them, I think.
How many
3?
medals you got hanging up?
Oh, I didn't even hang up my other ones.
No, you didn't.
2016, 2018,
19
2019.
last year, and 20. 4.
so 4. Yeah, cool. Again, don't look at it as it is very scary, I'm sure, for a lot of people. But again, go back. I'm not trying to like self-promote here our live stream, but people that I pass that I'm walking, especially towards the end, they're still crossing the finish line. They're not getting swept. So just have fun with it. Do the best that you can.
Like, you would maybe think that like, oh, these races are starting at 5:30 in the morning. There's not going to be any spectators there. Like, I'm going to be the
Nope.
only person sitting
Totally
there by
wrong.
myself. Like, no, you're fighting. It's awesome.
Yeah, so I know we're getting towards just to get the
No, me too.
but be courteous and kind to them. They're the half are in a corral that's ahead of them. So there was one girl who was in H. Literally the entire rest of her family, it was like 6 people, were in G A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Yeah, we're in G. And I mean, like, they were yelling at these poor volunteers, giving them a really hard time, that somebody else told them that they could all run together in G, you know. And it's like, something to understand too is that, like, you can't move up a corral, but anybody can move back. So it's really not going to be that big of a deal. I was literally watching. It was crazy. This family was at the back of G, which is the start of H.
Settle your arms down.
And their daughter is at the front of H, behind the fence. And I'm telling you, the entire time they are just trying to scheme and plan how they're going to get her over the fence into G, and then, like, make their way up. And some of the volunteers were just like, at one point, the one of them just kind of like stood there and was just like watching. I mean, a lot of them
They didn't give you your bib placements.
Right, exactly. And again, just have fun with it.
Hydrate the day before.
Hydrate the week
Carb
before.
load. Yeah.
If I remember when we do a podcast for Star Wars, probably, because I'm sure we'll probably do that.
Yeah, we probably will.
So be on the lookout. Next week's podcast will probably be all about...
Next week?
Yeah, we can get one done next week. Can't
Okay.
we? So you'll be able to see some of the vlogs that will be coming out from that as well.
Festival of the Arts.
This is really tough because normally we do like a video the same day. Shoot. And this podcast is going to get posted the same day as well. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But
Short festivals.
they are.
So there is a possibility you may only see one video, possibly two. There will be the podcast. It's just kind of hard to fit in these festivals because they're so short time, and we're going
Epcot's International Festival of
Flower and Garden.
Yeah,
Festival.
whatever it is. Festival of Flower and
Festival
Garden.
of Flower and Garden.
Yeah. Anyways, it is starting to get late. I have nothing else left.
I think that's it.
Let us know down in the comments below if you plan on doing a Run Disney event. I really encourage you to do it. If it's your first time, you will have a lot of fun.
And we would love to have you join us with the Dragon Master Foundation
Oh,
if
geez.
you decide to
wow.
do
Now
a Run
I'm
Disney
on the
event.
spot. Now I have to like make a team.
No, you don't.
Oh, shoot.
Well, you'll hear from us in the next podcast, whenever that may be.
It's been too long since we've done this.
And that's the weekly breakdown.